Hello and welcome. I am so glad you're here. I'm Beth, a creator-based coach with CMH Coaching for Life. I'm here today to help you and those you love create a life you feel grounded and at home in. Think of a life where you feel peace, love for those around you, and in a flow with just enough challenge to keep you happy and creating something wonderful. Sounds like magic, but it's not. You can create that life every single day. You can have a life full of love, excitement, hope, and creation. Our mission at CMH Coaching is to flood the earth with light through compassion, mindfulness, and hope. And I'm going to ask a favor of you. If you like what you see and hear today, think of someone you know that would enjoy and benefit from this message. Our mission is to flood the world with compassion, mindfulness, and hope. Share this with them. But for now, this is time just for you. So settle into whatever you're doing and enjoy this time with the girls, where we create that one awesome, amazing, perfect life every one of us is seeking.
You gotta watch your thinking. Watch your thinking. Watch your thinking.
One. Then we can I'll just edit it out later. Welcome to A Creator-Based Life, the weekly podcast for CMH Coaching. We empower women of faith to create the lives they love, the lives they've always wanted. And those are the lives that when you wake up in the morning, you smile and you say, oh, thank you, God. Let's get going. I'm here with Jacine Bonnet, a coach, a business coach, a mom, a grandma, and an avid runner, and Jennifer DeRoos, a coach, a can grow anything gardener who has bad spring fever right now, and a hypnotherapist. And I'm Beth, a master life coach, an author, and the creator of the Creator-Based Way. Create your one awesome, amazing, perfect, incredible life. And we are here today on a beautiful spring day to talk about life. Life as we know it, right? Just plain life. Those first spring, second spring, third spring, when you get in the middle of those, sometimes it gets kind of yucky in the middle. I remember growing up in Michigan and slogging, by the time we got to April, just slogging through the yuck and the mud and the cold and thinking, okay, that's it. Summer will never be here. It's just not going to happen. Yeah. You guys, well, what's it like in Oregon? When do you guys actually get
Well,
a
it depends
spring?
it depends on what part of Oregon. So I'm in Central Oregon. We were over on the valley on the coast side. And over there, it would warm up, not warm, but I mean springish, like in the 50s, 60s.
It would stop snowing.
Yeah, it didn't really snow in the valley really. So
okay.
Maybe once a year, but it would rain so much that we would get like a week of really nice weather in May around the 15th, and you'd be like, oh, let's go out and plant, and then you would plant it all, and there was so much rain it would wash away all the seeds. It would, if you planted little plants, it washed all of the dirt away. Yeah, it was, so you had to wait until after Memorial Day for sure.
That's hard.
Into the first week, yeah. And then here we wait because of the frost and the freeze, but in Central Oregon. So very different, about the same time we plant, but for different reasons.
You don't want your stuff to be washed away. Well, I would think it would be very, very discouraging to watch your garden wash away.
It was so but we kept doing it. Like you would think you would learn it, and you'd get like a couple of really drier, warmer weeks, and you'd be like, oh, it should be good. And then you'd do it. And then you'd have the deluge, and you'd be like, okay.
When we first moved out to the farm, of course, we came from the city, and we'd been in the city for about 20 years. And we moved out here, and we were like the first real city dwellers in a farm community. We were at the very beginning of the migration. And my neighbors just thought I was crazy, just crazy. We were out there in February digging up a garden and putting stuff in and thinking, oh, this is going to be it. and then the forecast for frost. And we went over to the neighbors and we got hay and covered everything up. And it turned out to be peanut hay. That was interesting.
Oh,
So
so you grew some stuff.
we grew peanuts that year. None of it really survived the frost, but we had lots of peanut seeds. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
it took a number of years, and it takes a lot of discipline for me to not put the garden in before it's time.
Yeah.
You just really want it, and
Oh,
you
yeah.
do get really discouraged. Yeah, it's not good.
What a life lesson, not to do something before it's time, right?
That is a good life lesson.
Mhm.
So we're talking all month about grit and grace. I don't know where that fits for grit and grace, not to do things before their time, but I do believe it might take some internal grit to hold yourself back, to choose
Oh, for
not to plant when you know that it's going to be washed away or frozen out or whatever.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's
Mhm.
wild. So let's talk a little bit about grit and grace, since it's the first podcast in March and we're actually going to do that. Jacine, you did a beautiful workshop on grit and grace. Can you share with us just basic definitions, help us understand why in the world we'd even want to give a whole month to the theme of grit and grace with creator-based coaching? I mean, what's the value there? What is it?
Oh man, just being able to think about when you think about grit, it doesn't always have like the best connotation, does it?
No, to me, grit is literally just gritting my teeth, clenching my jaw, and getting through it. It
Yeah.
doesn't seem like a very positive experience.
To me, it's something that rubs me raw.
Mhm.
Oh, like sandpaper grit. Yeah,
Yeah.
it takes off the
Grit.
top layer.
Yeah. Yeah, I love it. Yeah, and there's so much, but we've got to have the grit, and in the midst of the grit is having the grace to know when to back off, to have that balance. It's tenacity, but with that tenacity, having self-love and compassion and acceptance and curiosity. And then, just really, really, how do you have that? And Jen, I love you always. You've been over and over again talking about leveling up, and being able to have grit and grace is really allowing you to level up, to move up a level. And we have to have both of them in order to have it masterfully. I did say it right.
You did.
Yeah, to have it just masterfully be what it needs to be. So, yeah.
Well, can we talk about each of those little, just for real quick? What was the first one that you listed? I remember there were like 4 or 5 of them in a row that you listed.
Yeah, just balance.
Grit and grace.
Balance.
Balance. Okay,
Balance.
so let's
Mhm.
talk about balance, grit and grace. Do you think, I had this thought today when I was working on next week's Monday morning inspiration. Grit and grace are kind of like 50-50.
Mhm.
We have the 50-50 Girl Club where we expect things are 50% great, 50% not so great. And we expect that there's 50% growing, 50% resting. Do you think that they balance each other that way? It seems like they could, but the nuance to me says, well, maybe I'm off base a little bit with that. Grit, when we talk about it as tenacity,
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think it's important if we can learn to have the balance, because I've so often had the grit, but I haven't had the grace in with the grit,
Yeah.
right?
Well, yeah, like I'm a tooth grinder at night. When my life gets too stressful or I put too many demands on myself, I wake up in the morning with a headache because I grit my teeth. And the solution to that is to give myself the grace of self-care.
Mhm.
And when I wake up, I can recognize I'll wake up in the middle of the night because my jaw kind of is tight, like my teeth I've been clenching. And to stop and to relax my jaw, I kind of shift it around, wake it up a little bit, and then deliberately relax and go back to sleep. It's my way of taking care of myself in that balance, so I'm not stuck in grit. Because to me, being stuck in grit involves a headache. That's
Yeah, because you're so tight, right? Everything is just,
right. Everything's so
Ugh.
tight when it's gritty.
yeah. gritty. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Or I
Grit on
think
the
of,
sandpaper, right? The grit for
uh-huh.
the sandpaper. But look at that. If you use the sandpaper analogy, you've got the grit and you're rubbing it on the wood, right? You're smoothing it out. You're getting all of the rough edges off. And then
Yeah.
you've got different types of grit on the sandpaper. You've got that really harsh, and you go down to just something that is just so
Yeah, like the
makes
double
that,
zero is like almost nothing.
yeah, yeah, and you just like put it on your face, and it's just oh, yeah,
So soft.
yeah, but it's needed, right? The grit is needed in order to get that smooth surface.
Yeah, you do have to go from the really heavy grit working down.
Mhm.
Hmm. Life experiences and what level grit are they? That's an interesting thing to think about. I
Are
like
you
my
in the,
double zero days best.
are you in the stripping grit or are you in the polishing grit?
Yeah, the refining grits.
Yeah,
Yeah, polishing to
yeah.
where it's butter soft on
Yeah. Are
your
you
teeth.
really taking off the rough edges or are you just kind of polishing the shine? I'm like, yeah, I could get into that analogy.
Uh-huh. I like that. I like that. So if you're in the really heavy grit, taking off the sharp edges after you've lopped off the end of the log or the end of the board, what helps you to stay there long enough to be able to make it to the next level of sandpaper to where it doesn't have to be so heavy? What works now? I can tell you up front, the very first thing that works comes to my mind is I try to focus on my end result.
Mhm.
So like if I'm we built this huge family table a few years ago. It was, I don't even know, it was so heavy. It took like 6 guys just to move it and put it in place. It's an outdoor table. It's made out of I think they're 8-inch boards, but they're like this thick.
Mm.
So I don't know what those are. Maybe they're 2x8s. And it's just so heavy, but it took a lot of sanding to get it down and then a lot of finishing to get it right. But when all it was placing the stones, nobody wanted to place the stones the table was going to be on. It was dirty work. It was muddy. It was yucky. And what did we talk about to get us through doing that? It was the end product.
Yeah.
Yeah. We focused on, not only did we focus on the table, but mostly we focused on the family dinners that would be around that table and the celebrations that would be in that place. Yeah. And so it wasn't even necessarily focusing on the physical project. It was focusing on the feeling we would have with the relationships we cultivated in that space.
Yeah, the why you were doing it. Why are we doing this? We're doing this for this. We're doing it for this. Yeah.
Yeah, the why. Yeah. So I could see that long-term why really given me a lot of strength when I was in the gritty part of my life. I don't like the gritty part. I like the soft sheets.
I like the end result.
I like the end
Yeah.
result.
Getting to the end result. I mean, I think, can
What
I
about
just
y'all?
about it
What
and
do you,
be there? You know?
yeah. Yeah. What do you guys do when you're in because we all go through the grit. Like I think of it as when I go to the beach and I bring my sneakers home and I put my sneakers back on and I don't wear socks. And then we run to the store and it turns out to be a 2-hour shopping trip. And by the time you're done, your feet really hurt because you had the sand in your shoes. It's, yeah, exfoliating. The grit makes me sore. So what do y'all do? What do you do to get through that part in your life?
I like just to know that it's going to pass. This really sucks. It stinks. It's hard, but it's going to let up. It's going to shift. And that's what gets me through it. So when I have those days, I'm just grumble, grumble, grumble. I'm just like, yeah, it's going to get better. Just you're in the messy middle. So.
Messy middle. Yeah, I love that phrase, messy middle. And we know it's come to pass. It didn't come to stay. It will leave.
Yeah.
Whether
like
it's good
come
or
to
whether
stay,
it's not.
it came to pass. I like that.
It came to pass. It didn't come to stay. Exactly. Yeah, we know. And that is really comforting to be able to say, okay, this is going to pass.
Another one that I learned to do, and I sometimes forget it and I still have to do it, everyone, it's that leaning into that struggle or leaning into that pain or discomfort, whatever it's bringing up, just accept it, lean into it and accept it. And
okay, but my first, when I'm uncomfortable, my first is my go-to is I start thinking about it.
Mhm.
Okay, I need to figure it out. And what do I need to do about it? And how do I get around it? And how can I make it stop? That's not leaning in, right? What's leaning in look like?
I think what happens leaning in comes to me after all that. After
Okay.
I've thought what I needed to think and planned what I needed to plan, and it's not changing, and it's just still kind of like, or I understand that this is going to take some time. Then I
Mhm.
just accept, I lean into it. It's going to be this way for a few days or weeks or whatever. To me, that's the leaning in, the accepting it and just saying, okay, I'll just walk this walk right now.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. And I'll just be uncomfortable.
Yeah, and try and learn whatever I need to learn. And a lot of times that's going back to square one and learning it again, and going back to square one and learning it again.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Oh, that's what life is about. It's just continuing again and trying again and
Yeah,
leveling up hopefully in between.
Yeah, finding new ways. It's interesting. Mark and I last night watched a movie called Naiad, and it was the story of Diane Naiad, who was the swimmer who swam from Cuba to the Florida Keys. But before that,
wow.
back in 1979, she had
Wow.
swam like the English Channel. She swam all over the world. And she tried that back in when she was 28 years old in 1979, I believe it was, and couldn't do it. I mean, she had sponsors. It was just terrible. And so she was turning 60 and she's like, I'm not done living. This is what I
Yeah,
was
I'm not
born to
done.
do.
I'm
This
just
is what I
barely
was,
more than halfway. Yeah.
yeah, this is what I was born to do. And people said it couldn't be done. And she tried I think it was 5 times and failed again at the age of 60. At 61 and
Wow.
62 is when she finally did it at the age of 62. She did it. She completed what no one had ever done, what people said was impossible. But each time she failed upwards.
Mm.
And it wasn't just her, it was her whole team because you can't do something like that all on your own. It takes so many people
It's
to,
community. It takes a huge community. Yeah.
yes, yeah, to do it. And so I think that's important when we're going through our stuff, right? And I was looking at the analogy of sandpaper and what do I do when I'm sanding? Okay, when it's really hard, right? I'm just
Yeah, you are. You're frowning and
oh,
scowling and
right? It's
yeah.
hard. But then if I can find a rhythm with it, right?
You
That's
start
when
leaning your
we're
whole
leaning
body
in,
into it.
right? Yes.
Uh-huh.
And it's
It's
not
like
just
a
your arm.
dance.
Yes. And I think that's if I can use that metaphor in my mind and picture that when I'm going through that gritty stuff, like, okay, this is just this first gritty sandpaper. I know that the next level is coming
I like,
and I can take
I
a
like,
break.
I like what you said, JC. You leaned into it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You do. You
Yeah.
really lean into it as you're.
Leaned
Yes.
into it. You engaged
Yes.
into it. Yeah.
And then you
Yeah.
can find the rhythm and then it becomes easier, right? It becomes
Yes.
right. Yeah. So
I love that.
pretty cool.
I
It's
like what you said about Naiad. Is it Susan Naiad?
Diane.
Diane Naiad. Somebody said it couldn't be done. That's something that we have used for years and years in our family to work through the gritty places. It's a poem by Edgar A. Guest. Have you ever heard it? Somebody said it couldn't be done, but he with a chuckle replied that maybe it couldn't, but he would be one who wouldn't say so till he tried. So he waded right in with a trace of a grin on his face. If he worried, he hit it. He started to sing, which is what made me think of you, Jacine, when he tackled the thing that couldn't be done and he did it. It goes on for 4 more stanzas of somebody said, oh, you'll never do that because nobody else has. Or somebody says, it's just too hard. But at the very end, it just ends with, he started to sing as he tackled the thing and he did it. It's just that whole leaning in and the rhythm and the song. And for that's acceptance.
Mm-hmm.
That's
grace, right? Acceptance and grace. Okay, I'm doing this hard thing, but let's find it, right? Let's find that rhythm.
Yeah. Well, and there is an element of pleasure when you find your rhythm that really diminishes the discomfort. At least for me, like with the poem, it turns it into fun.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because you're doing something that's entertaining or intellectually engaging or whatever. Yeah, I
It's
love that.
interesting. I follow that neuroscientist out of Stanford, Andrew Huberman. And I just saw a little blurb on one of his podcasts. I got to go back and find it. But he says there's a part of your brain, and he named it, but I don't remember it.
But you will.
There's a part of your brain that when you do hard things, it actually grows. So your capacity to do harder things grows. And so when you engage and do something that you aren't sure you can do, or it's hard and you stick with it, that part of your brain, enlarges. And then the next thing is easier but hard. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
that's why stressing is so good for us.
Part of your brain.
Yeah, because you actually
so Jen, aren't you excited to go to Pilates again? Like, seriously.
Hey, tell the girls about Pilates, Jen.
My brain is going to be so big.
What week is this for you on Pilates? Is this 3 weeks now?
Yeah.
And y'all just need to know. Jen, tell us about the Pilates.
I love it. I've done it before, but they didn't have a place out here where I moved to. And so they finally got a place, and I was so happy to do it. But my body, man, it's happy but not happy. And it's just like, it's hard.
It hurts.
It hurts. But it's actually easy. Not, some of the moves don't hurt now that hurt in the beginning. And so, yeah. Keep going.
Yeah, but I mean, it really is a great analogy for the grit. How do you keep going? You keep going just through grit and tenacity, and go and make yourself do it, because you're doing the moves, but they hurt.
Yeah.
And
you come home, it'll hurt your pocketbook. So
yeah, there's that too. Yeah.
You don't show up for class, they charge you. So you're like, I'm already paying for it. Don't charge me. So
you're going to go. Well, and that's a great motivator. Yeah. But you're trusting the process, right? You're coming in, you're showing up 3 days a week. Is that what you're going?
Yeah, 3 days a week.
Yeah, you show up 3 days a week and you trust. I think we were just talking about this before we started the podcast, because you guys, Jen is really uncomfortable. She's playing it now. But this is hard. Capital H, hard. And my son Adam lifts weights, and my husband just took a manual labor job he's helping install a whole bunch of cabins in a resort close by.
Oh, wow.
And he's loving it because he's using all of his electrician skills and all of his construction skills, and he's making something. But oh my gosh, when he rolls over at night, he moans. His body is really sore. And so he's talking to Adam, who lifts weights. How long did it take until you stopped hurting, till you could go in and do your weight lift? And that's what Adam said, 3 months. At 3 months, it stopped hurting, and it was just fun. And so Troy's like, well, I'm 6 weeks in, I guess. And Jen, you're 3 weeks in. So there you go. It's coming. But you're trusting the process, right? And that's a big deal. You can trust and you can have faith that it will get better. You've probably already seen.
Yeah, the pain isn't as bad as the first week. So there's that.
Yeah.
Sore.
Yeah. And focusing on the end result, I'm sure, because you have done Pilates before and you know how good it felt.
Oh, yeah. But it does take a little bit to get into it. Yeah.
Yeah. And what a difference it made.
Oh, yeah.
That is cool. One of the trusting the process, one of the things that really helps me when I'm in the messy middle, like you said, is trusting that everything's working out for my highest good. Mm-hmm. And we've seen that in the family vacations. Have y'all ever done a family vacation with like long road trip, the 3,000 milers, when you were kids or with your family as an adult? Yeah, you have? Come on, JC, fess it up. Tell us about it. What was it like?
Oh, there was a lot of, he's touching me.
Are we there yet? Are we there yet?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh,
yep. We did a trip to the Grand Canyon once, and I was terrified I was going to lose one of my kids. Aubrey was not quite 2, and they ranged from age 2 to probably around age 14. And so I made everybody, it was my sewing season. I made everybody bright yellow t-shirts, even me and Troy. And so we all, whenever we went somewhere sightseeing, we all wore the bright yellow t-shirts so I could find my kids. And so anytime we bring it up, we start talking about that. I hear, yes, and you made us wear those bright yellow t-shirts. Hated you for that. Or yes, and Ben threw up in my seat 3 times through the course of the trip. And it was red punch. She always brings up the red punch. She's like, I to this day can't do it. But it's just funny, the things. But it was a fun trip. And it brought the unity. And even today, I mean, Aubrey's 30 in a couple of weeks. So 28 years old, we're still unified and talking about that experience. Mm-hmm. What was yours like, JC, when you guys went? Was it a family trip when you're with your kids or with your parents?
No, with my parents. Yeah, just with my parents. And because there were so many of us, we just drove wherever we went. And most of our family trips were to go visit grandparents. We're living in Idaho, go to Colorado, visit grandparents. And yeah, just a lot of, yes, they're in my space. They're in my space. They're breathing my air.
Breathing my air, right?
And sitting, getting stuck in the back of the station wagon. Remember when they had the seats that faced the back?
Yes, we had.
And that's when you
went out the back window.
You can't see, right? Yeah, there's no wind. It's terrible. Yeah. So it's so funny. Why do we think that's great? But I know when we got there, it was wonderful, right? You got to visit grandma and grandpa. You got to have all this fun. It was worth the trip because we did it multiple times. So
yeah, well, and pretty much you would sleep all the way home because you'd be exhausted from everything. So it's just the trip there that would be so hard.
Yeah.
But it's for me, I just knew it was going to be great when we got there. Like you said, we went from Texas to Las Vegas, and then from Las Vegas to Galveston, and then back home again to East Texas. And it was a lot of miles. I don't even know how many miles that was. But again, it was trusting that everything was working out the way it was supposed to work out. And it was going to be good. It was just having faith that it was going to be good. Jen, did you do car trips with your folks? Did you guys ever do that?
Oh, yeah. And then we also did, but our car trips weren't as lengthy as that, but we'd do car trips and then we'd have to hike, like backpack.
Oh, you were backpackers.
Oh yeah. And then we would spend a week at like these lakes. It was wonderful.
Wow.
But it was like hiking in 7 miles with a backpack, with a family. Oh, it was the car ride, but on steroids. Because you're walking and hauling stuff. So it's like different types of complaining, different types of whining, different types of like everybody's going at a different speed, and like, did we lose that child, that type thing, but
wow.
It was like once we got there, we knew we didn't have to haul our pack anymore, and we could play for a week, for days. So it was like, when we got there, it was happiness. But you said something that also reminds something that you taught me, and it helps me in these times too, is that I'm exactly where I need to be. It's the mess,
exactly
but
where
I need to be. So it's like, I don't, it's like, I can see where I'm going to be after this, and I can, be like, this is going to be great. And I can focus on that. But right now I'm exactly where I need to be to do whatever I need to do, learn whatever lesson I need to learn, or just relearn or whatever. So
practice again, because we just keep practicing the same principles over and over and over again. And each time we're a little better, hopefully. Yeah, that's fantastic. Yeah. All about just keep swimming, right? Like Dory, just keep swimming, just keep swimming. Yeah, it is beautiful. And that's all about grit. Next time we'll talk a little more about grace. But I love your analogy of the rhythm. I'm going to just really enjoy playing with that rhythm idea this week with the grit. I know that it's going to be, what is 2024? It's going to be 5 years of CMH coaching in October. Woo! And it took serious grit the first time I sat down in front of the computer and said, okay, so I want to find out, how do I get an email address? And here we are. But that was so much grace, much grace. And then the leaning into the rhythm, it gets so fun after a while, that you need a little bit of difficulty to jazz things up, to give you the challenge to really enjoy that rhythm. It's good. So,
yeah.
Sometimes it just plain sucks. It just does.
And that's okay.
But
That's
yeah,
okay.
and that's okay. But a lot of times this rhythm is nice. And then every once in a while you get to coast and it's all good.
Yeah.
That beauty of grit and grace. Yeah, it's great. If you guys didn't read the Monday morning inspiration post yet, I just need to show you. You need to go read it, okay? So that you can understand this. That's all I'm going to say about it. If you haven't read it, check your email and go read it.
Oh my gosh. I tried doing that. I couldn't get my arms to like, I don't
You
even
put your
know.
pinkies in your jaw and then you just start folding things up. Yeah, take your
No,
glasses
but
off.
it was so like hard. Right, Jen?
Yes.
Here we go. We got
Yeah, see, Jen. Oh, Jen looks so good.
Yeah, you're so, I
Yeah.
like having up my nose. I don't know.
That's beautiful. Jen, your hands are
Yeah.
fingers.
I've done it before. That's why I know.
There you go, JC. I saw it. I saw it. Yeah. So if y'all haven't read it, you totally need to go read it because it's good. And it's got the cute little bulldog picture in it this week. Yeah.
And hey, take a selfie and show us. Put it.
Oh yes, we
There you
should.
go,
No, I
Jason.
tried. I tried to do that, but I couldn't.
Oh yeah, how do you do it?
Right.
Right, yeah.
And if I'd gone to get Jared to say, take my picture with this, I can't even imagine what would have happened. Right. No. So check it out. Check out the blog if you don't understand it, and you will understand it. And it's really fun. Let's talk about what's coming up the rest of the week, though. Tomorrow we're doing Coach and Clear. And I just love this idea of practicing with the grit and the grace all month long. If you're coming to Coach and Clear tomorrow morning, consider what would make your gritty times easier for you. What could you focus on that we could talk about and coach with, or that we could choose to ask about releasing in order for that grit to be more in rhythm, right? And more profitable for you. So if you're coming to grit, I got grit and grace on the brain now, to Coach and Clear, we have that. And then Wednesday, we are doing book club. How's it going with book club?
Good. You know what? We really are doing it slow. We're just getting through chapter 7.
Well, what are you working on? What was your last tool that you practiced?
Yeah, the last tool. Oh gosh, that was a long time ago. That was last week.
It's okay. Jen's got the book. She's going to find it.
Yeah, we got through chapter 6. We're going to chapter 7 this week.
About obedience.
Yeah, forgiveness. We were talking about forgiveness, and yes. Yeah.
The power of forgiveness. You should take a month on forgiveness, man.
Right.
It is really a powerful concept. Yeah. So you're chapter 7 this week?
Yep, through chapter 7. Mm-hmm.
Okay. And that will be at 1:30 Central.
Can I read one of my favorite things?
Yeah.
Yes,
Sure.
please do.
It's a quote about it's the forgiveness place. It's a quote, and it's by James E. Faust. Forgiveness is freeing up and putting to better use the energy once consumed by holding grudges, harboring resentments, and nursing unhealed wounds. It is rediscovering the strengths we always had and relocating our limitless capacity to understand and accept other people and ourselves.
Wow.
I have that
freeing up and putting to better use.
Freeing it up and putting it to better use because totally love that.
I love that. Wow. Yeah, I think he was in the presidency of the church when we joined the church back in 1980. So that was a long time ago. He was, spot on, freeing up and putting to better use the energy that we were using. Boy, I love that.
Yeah.
Well, Thursday we have office hours for the coaches and the coach training. And just a little blip, if you're thinking about coach training, June will be here soon. So submit. You can just email Beth at CMH Coaching and we can get you an application and you can submit your application for that if you decide that's your calling. That's what you really want to do. We had a great jump start on Saturday.
Oh gosh, it was so good.
Yeah, tell us what was so good for you.
Just the outcome of it. I loved all the things that we discussed during the jump start, but just using the oils and going in and doing it 3 times, it just was like peeling an onion. Kind of. Well, I guess it was a lot like peeling the onion because
It
that
made you
first
cry.
layer, it made me cry, right? It was like, it wasn't fun. It was like, in my face.
No, feeling all those feels.
Yeah. So then going down the second time and going down the third time and just really being able to have an affirmation at the end of it was really, really powerful. Yeah.
It's powerful, liberating. And I loved that people who didn't have oils could do it with vanilla extract and a lemon and have incredible results. You know, I just think that is so great because some people don't have oils, don't know how to get them, or just don't have funds to buy them because sometimes they're not super cheap. But with a bottle of vanilla and a lemon, you know, or an orange, you can have the same results or really great results. Yeah, that was fun. And then we're coming up, April Jumpstart will be the second week in April instead of the first week like we usually have it. And Jen's teaching that one. And it's emotions and essential oils again, right? It's more.
It's another way of doing this. It's more of like just understanding more about maybe what these oils can tell you about your inner landscape or your inner world.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's not, I mean, it's more of like I think probably a discovery. Bess was more of a release.
It was focused on getting rid of worry.
Healing, where this was just a discovery. This is going to help you understand you more.
Yeah. Yeah. That will be very sweet. Did I miss anything? I think we got everything. That's what's happening around here.
Tonight.
Yeah. Tonight is mastermind. See, it always happens to me. I'm like, I'm off next month sometime. That's right. Tonight is mastermind. And I am so excited because we are going to talk about, you know, we've studied a lot about the empowerment dynamic and we focus a lot on staying in a creator role. We focus on it, but we don't necessarily do the nitty gritty of how to live in it. And so tonight we're going to talk a lot about what a rescuer really looks like. And I was very surprised because rescuers look like really amazing people.
Yep.
But they harbor a lot of grudges. There's a lot of energy tied up in there that could be used for something else, right? And tend to feel unsupported a lot. And I'm like, oh, well, this is very interesting. And so we're going to kind of do a deeper dive into staying in a creator role, observing other people in their creator role, and how that impacts us when we want to rescue. Yeah, that's going to be a lot of fun. And I think, again, very cathartic. We might even bring some oils into the whole thing.
That might be good.
Yeah, we're going to. And we do have, we have the anxiety masterclass coming up in April. And JC will tell you about that. When that ends, we're going to start another mastermind. So if you're interested in mastermind, keep an ear out and come to the anxiety masterclass, which is
April 11th. We're going to have the kickoff and we'll have an 11 Eastern time and a 7 p.m. Eastern time. So you can sign up on Eventbrite. And, you know, it's just, I love the phrase, unleash your inner peace. Because
no joke. It's like it's a caged tiger in there. So powerful.
Right.
We're going to open the doors and let them out.
Just unleash it. So definitely go to Eventbrite, sign up for it, and understand that as you do that, you're going to receive emails with the information. So pay attention to your email after you sign up at Eventbrite.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. We have a whole series of really cool emails that'll go out once you sign up. In fact, even if, and I'm not telling you not to do this, but even if you didn't come for the actual kickoff, if you signed up, you'd be put on this list, and every week, about every 5 days, you get another anxiety tool. Every few days, you'll get another anxiety tool to use. And so even the emails themselves are going to be tremendously helpful. Yeah, it's going to be really good. And JC, I really love the idea of thinking about the power of peace. We need to think about that some more. You're unleashing this power of peace. And what does that look like? Because that's what helps you dissolve the anxiety and to move into an empowered role. Yeah. Unleashing your power of peace. So y'all, go to Eventbrite, search for an online class called Anxiety Masterclass. We'll be right there, and sign up. You'll get it on the email list, you'll get the new tools, and you'll be able to come for free. It's going to be really, really good. So happy Monday. And here's to leaning in and getting in the rhythm and smoothing the cheeks and getting beautiful.
Smoothing the
Yeah.
rough edges.
Yep.
Removing those rough edges. Have a beautiful week, y'all.
I can choose to be happy, choose to be free, moment by moment. It's all up to me, 'cause what I think about, I bring about. That's the way it is, and there is no doubt. Day by day, I pave the way with every little thought I think.
Hey, thanks for joining us today in A Creator-Based Life. I hope you felt that compassion, mindfulness, and hope you came seeking today. You can find more of it at cmhcoaching.com or on linktree/cmhcoaching. Of course, any social media outlet, we're there too. Because you felt the benefit and light in this message, please invite those you care deeply about to join us. Help us to create a ripple effect across the globe of compassion, mindfulness, and hope. Then we can create a creator-based life together. Have a great week, y'all. We'll talk to you soon.
Choose to be free, moment by moment. It's all up to me, 'cause what I think